Abandonment or presence? I think I finally found the question underneath all the other questions. Not why am I like this? Not what happened to me? Not even how do I change? The real question is simpler than that. Am I abandoning myself right now, or am I staying present? Because that has been the fork in the road my whole life. Abandonment or presence. And I can look back now and see it in almost every choice I made. Every time I ran, every time I numbed, every time I needed control so bad, I called it love. Every time fear got behind the wheel and I sat in the passenger seat pretending I had no choice, I thought I was protecting myself. But the truth is, most of the time, I was leaving myself. There was a child inside me I didn't want to look at. A scared kid, a hurt kid, a kid standing in the old houses where no one came for him the way they should have. And for a long time, I blamed him. I called him weak, I called him broken, I called him the reason I couldn't get right. I looked at the most wounded part of me and treated him like evidence that something was wrong with me. But he wasn't the reason I became this way. I became this way because I left him there. I abandoned the child who had already been abandoned. And then I spent the rest of my life trying to outrun the sound of him calling my name. That's what addiction was. That's what distraction was. That's what rage was. That's what control was. That's what needing to be understood right now, or reassured right now, or forgiven right now was really about. It was that child saying, "Please don't leave me again." But I didn't know how to hear him. So I made other people responsible for a wound they didn't create. I asked love to be a cage. I asked people to calm a fear that was older than them. I asked the world to prove I was safe while I kept abandoning the one place I actually needed to return to, myself. And now I see it. When I react, it is usually not because I am strong. It is because I am scared. When I control, it is usually not because I am right. It is because some part of me believes I am about to be left again. When I defend myself too hard, it is usually because shame has walked into the room wearing my voice. And when I run, when I disappear, when I reach for something outside myself to change how I feel inside myself, that is the old choice, abandonment. But there is another choice, presence. Presence does not mean I never feel fear. Presence means fear does not get to become my master. Presence does not mean I never hurt. Presence means I stop turning my hurt into a weapon. Presence does not mean I let people walk over me. Presence means I speak from truth, not panic. Presence means I can feel the child inside me, pulling on my sleeve, begging me to do what we always did. Run, control, numb, accuse, hide, explain, prove, and I can kneel down inside myself and say, no, not this time. I see you. You were not weak. You were alone. You were not bad. You were scared, and I am not leaving you in that house anymore. That is the work now. Not becoming perfect. Not becoming somebody who never gets triggered. Not pretending the past didn't happen. The work is staying. Staying with the feeling, long enough to tell the truth. Staying with the fear, long enough to choose love. Staying with the shame, long enough to not obey it. Staying with the child, long enough to become the adult he always needed. Because maybe healing is not some grand moment where the sky opens and everything in me is fixed. Maybe healing is smaller than that. Maybe it is the moment before the text, the moment before the lie,
The moment before the drink, the moment before the door slams, the moment before the old story turns me into the old version of myself. Maybe healing is standing right there, at the fork in the road, and asking one honest question. Am I abandoning myself? Or am I being present? That is the way for me now. A return, a coming home, a man walking back into every room he once ran from and saying to the child inside, I'm sorry it took me so long. I'm sorry I believed they were right about you. I'm sorry I called you weak when you were just trying to survive. But I am here now, and I don't know how to heal all of this in one day. But I know this: I will not abandon you just because you are hurting. I will not abandon the man I am becoming just because the child in me is afraid. I will not let fear keep writing my life and call it protection. I choose presence again and again and again until presence becomes the place I live.